Ladies and gentlemen, the House of Representatives will impeach President Trump. So Democrats are going to impeach President Trump without actually stating without having evidence, I should say, of a specific criminal act. They do not know. Okay, for Democrats and media to claim, number one, that Trump was interfering in the 2020 election, they would have to prove he cared about Biden. Nobody cares about the No Malarkey bus tour. Nobody. I wrote in 2017 in the Huffington Post, the article is below, Clinton 2020 is a reality, get ready for 8 years of Trump. There is no way on planet Earth that Biden becomes nominee. Or Bernie. They're going to cheat Bernie again. And interestingly enough, Bernie Sanders has if Elizabeth Warren wasn't there and they had a normal functioning political party, he would have won in 2016. The Democratic nomination. And I do believe in 2016, I believe he would have defeated Trump simply because Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin hadn't voted for a Republican since the 80s. Thank God Trump won. We have record low unemployment. He's scaling back U.S. foreign policy. He's going after very corrupt intelligence officials. Thank God he won. First president to step foot in North Korea. Bernie Sanders would have, here's the thing. In an alternate universe, one would assume that Bernie Sanders would take on the establishment. He can't even take on Debbie Wasserman Schultz. He's going to be cheated again. That's a whole other story. My point is this. The impeachment is predicated upon the notion, the hilarious, absurd notion, the amusing, comedic basis, idea that Trump is afraid of Biden. So therefore, he fabricated investigations, or he wanted to go after Biden specifically because he wanted to interfere in the election. Because Biden and his son, just like that song in the 90s, that's just my Hunter Biden, which he should be happy about, whatever. That's a whole other story. He lost a paternity case. He shouldn't even have taken it to court. It's whatever. The whole thing's, don't get into it. What you want to know about Hunter Biden, read the New York Post or the Daily Mail. If a fraction of what he is accused of doing was leveled at Eric Trump or Donald Trump Jr., or Jared Kushner, forget about it. Oh my God, they would be gleefully so, talking about it every day. But anyway, he's, number one, not afraid. He doesn't think he's going to lose to Biden. He knows that Clinton is going to be the nominee, and he knows that he will defeat Clinton again. Number two, they have not proven that he, without any evidence, wanted to investigate Biden. Biden and the vice president and his son are the potential misconduct, the potential corruption is documented by Politico. Kenneth Vogel of Politico, who's now at the New York Times. Okay? He already is on video, Biden, as bragging that you will not get the $1 billion unless you fire a prosecutor. The problem is that prosecutor was looking into the corporation funneling millions to his son. Democrats, the rebuttal is, that's because the U.S. foreign policy is that we need to ensure that corruption is being investigated in the Ukraine because it's so corrupt. This is what the United States said under President Obama. It's so corrupt. That's why we forced out a prosecutor. It's so corrupt. Well, that's exactly what Trump said as to why he withheld the assistance. Lethal aid, by the way, that wasn't given by President Obama, that it was eventually given by Trump. He did not say, you will not get this assistance unless you investigate Biden. They have not linked. See, with Democrats, it's always correlation doesn't prove causation. Money to Uranium One, you have no direct link to President Obama vetoing the sale, not vetoing the sale, and allowing 20% of U.S. uranium capacity and yellow cake uranium being shipped out of the country, according to the New York Times. You have no proof that UBS giving money and then getting hooked up by Clinton, or Boeing getting hooked up with a multi-billion-dollar deal in Russia, or 85 donors giving $156 million into the Clinton Foundation, and all 85 meeting Secretary Clinton. You have no written statement that said they gave the money to meet with Madam Secretary. You can't prove anything. If it's annoying to you, that's exactly what Democrats sound like. She deleted yoga emails. You can't prove she didn't. There's no document saying she didn't delete yoga emails. You can't prove that she used a private server to hide her communication and hide her Clinton Foundation emails. It was for convenience. We can go on forever. They live with implausible deniability. Their lives are like cemented by this absurd plausible deniability notion. You can't prove that Loretta Lynch met with Bill Clinton that she didn't speak about golf, Brexit, and grandchildren. That's what she said. You can't prove President Obama knew about Clinton's server, even though he emailed her under a pseudonym. You can't prove anything. But with Trump, when he says, "Oh yeah, the country is corrupt," so we're withholding the assistance for a little while to make sure that they get that the money goes not to oligarchs or not to specific government officials, but to the country itself. Up! No way! We're on to you, Trump. You did that specifically because you were afraid of Biden. And we already know that you worked with Russia, right? He didn't work with Russia. The articles of impeachment, by the way, the biggest victory is not President Trump's letter, which is a great letter. The biggest victory of this impeachment proceedings is the fact that the Mueller probe and the attempted removal of the president by corrupt intelligence chiefs, the fact that nothing they found was included in the articles of impeachment, not even the alleged obstruction, which was nonsense. They couldn't even put one thing, not one indictment, not one thing to do with Mueller in this impeachment proceedings. Nothing. Because they knew the IG report was going to undermine them. And they knew that Kevin Kleinsmith and others deliberately falsified information. Deliberately. You can go through a litany of examples when the FBI wanted to railroad people in the past 50 to 60 years. Litany of examples. Okay? And it's like, Democrats love Comey. They love the intelligence community. They love Clapper. Executive branch, no. That's a part of government we don't like. There's no reverence and pomp and circumstance and all that. So, this is a complete and utter debacle for Democrats. They literally lost support after they had overwhelming media coverage on their side. They still lost support. I mean, look, they get paid to fail. Clinton lost the election in 2016. She's going to get more than $2 billion. Or at least close to $2 billion. She got $1.2 billion in 2016. You don't think she's going to get more? They cheated Bernie Sanders, then blamed Russia. You don't think they're going to do the same in some way to Bernie Sanders? And I mean, already, whatever. Warren, that campaign is like a hollow, there's no substance to it. Biden's campaign, the No Malarkey bus tours, I mean, the letter Trump wrote, it basically undermines Biden's campaign, and also the Senate trial, they want the vice president to testify. And they want the intelligence operative. This whole thing is a charade, and it's a failed theatrical performance masquerading as a public relations disaster. All of this is a charade. Impeachment, the Democratic debates, the whole thing's nonsense. It's all for Clinton 2020. And when she runs, and people are going to say, how is anyone to know? H.A. Goodman didn't predict, fill in the blank for her running. Like I said, any opportunity will be manufactured or, utilized in some way. So Clinton is going to be nominee. She's literally the only person Democrats have because it's a political machine. Hillary Clinton is the only person Democrats have who can stand who has a chance against Trump. Now, theoretically, she could win, but she's not going to win. And she will lose to Trump and run again in 2024. It's a political machine. A political machine runs on graft, fundraising, money. How many people stand to benefit from Bernie Sanders being nominee? How about not many? Democrats they haven't even passed the Medicare for All bill. They've been talking about it for the past 4 years every single day. They haven't passed the Green New Deal legislation, and we're supposed to worship at the altar of climate change. Okay, fine, it's important. Why don't you pass some legislation? You don't believe it. No, I believe it. Fine, that's clear. Okay, fine. Pass some legislation. Put your money where your mouth is. Oh, that's right. You don't really, yeah. So, at the end of the day, they're going to always, you want to abolish ICE? We're waiting. You haven't done it. You want to abolish student debt? We're waiting. You own the House. The only thing you've done is impeach President Trump. That's it. And you pass spending bills. And by the way, you allow him the authorization for use of military force, which is hilarious. Congress was the Senate, the House, both chambers allowed President Trump. And they say, Orange Menace, he has the same authority over the United States military as Bush did and President Obama. I don't think any president should have the authorization for use of military force. Without Congress, to just send Americans without congressional debate anywhere? No, that's not right. But anyway, look. They're going to impeach Trump, and it's only going to make him stronger. President Trump is the Obi-Wan Kenobi of American politics. Nothing they do against him, nothing, absolutely positively nothing they do manages to derail Trump. No, they can dislike him. Oh my goodness, they dislike his personality. But you know what? The average American likes low unemployment, record low unemployment. They like the First Step Act. They like record highs in the stock market. People's 401ks are doing well, and they're working with record low unemployment. Yeah, let's impeach that person. And President Obama and Bush and Clinton, they presided over the failed foreign policy interventions of numerous ones under Cheney and Rumsfeld and Bush, and then Libya under President Obama. But we have to impeach and remove this person because of his tweets. The tweets are so mean. You know what's real? This is why Trump will always defeat these duplicitous, disingenuous people. They cheated Bernie Sanders. They presided over the destruction of a country where people are now being bought and sold, unfortunately. Like, this is heinous crimes against humanity. And we did so for the people of Libya. Yeah, right. And then you have a President Obama. I drank a Flint water and, there was a filter. That is to me, that's more offensive than anything Trump says about someone's appearance. So, I don't care. You look at Trump's tweets, they're like, this is what Trump said about people. It's hilarious. He's funnier than most comedians nowadays. He is. Most comedians are completely politically correct. Completely. Trump's funnier. He doesn't care. And the best part is you have CNN, what's his name? He's like, oh yeah, when are Trump's supporters going to say that, we don't support what he said in this? I mean, is it even possible? Yeah, I don't support everything that President Trump says in a tweet. If it was up to me, I would say, President Trump, lay off. No disparaging comments about women. I would say that. But I'm not president. Okay. And you know what? I would tell Madam Secretary, that comment you made about young people, calling people super predators who must be brought to heel and who lack empathy. Yeah. Again, worse than anything that President Trump ever said. You could just do a T-chart. All the things that Obama and Clinton, President Obama and Clinton presided over, and Trump. And you will see the most heinous, atrocious things on the Democratic side. And they're still going to nominate a person, Clinton, who presided over mass incarceration and destroyed numerous countries with failed foreign policies, foreign policy objectives. That were, by the way, she voted alongside Republicans on foreign policy, the Bush administration, Cheney and Rumsfeld. Couldn't have done what they did without Clinton. And Biden. And President Obama won in large part because he was going to reverse that paradigm. He didn't. You know who is? President Trump. So I'm voting 100% for President Trump in 2020. And I suggest everyone else vote for President Trump also. Give me your thoughts below. You think you're going to denigrate or disparage Trump because you impeached him? When I was speaking, this is like a microscopic example of what's going on. You know, when I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post, people would try to silence me, disparage me. They wrote hit pieces on me in the Daily Beast, Raw Story, all these places, all these message boards didn't like me. It was hilarious. There's certain quote-unquote journalists who devoted their lives to trying to just mock me and disparage me. I didn't care, because if I'm judged by the people who don't like me, there's not much to say about me, because the people who don't like me, pretty much a lot of them are like the biggest imbeciles on the planet. So the same thing with Trump. President Trump, the people who don't like President Trump, I can't stand. And if you're watching this channel, generally you can't stand. And by the way, that goes for, there are still progressives who watch this channel, and God bless you. It's like, perhaps it's a guilty pleasure. You don't have to tell anybody. But most people, Trump supporters, like myself, the people who can't stand Trump, the Max Boot, the Bill Kristols of the world, the Hollywood, the disingenuous Hollywood, celebrities, the lofty New York Times journalists, who, by the way, is hilarious. Now you get this, this one pundit running for Congress, and they do the same thing to him that they did to Trump, but suddenly it's corporate media is trying to silence you. No. And this pundit utilized the New York Times and everything to, Russia, blame Trump, everything, all of these false stories on Trump. He had no problem utilizing. But then when the New York Times and Washington Post level and spew their venom at him, oh my God, so horrible. The left is decomposing before our very eyes. It's very interesting. This impeachment will show more about them than it will about Trump. Their feelings towards Trump, illustrate more about how dysfunctional and unhealthy and sinister they are than Trump. Trump's person. Everybody knew Trump's personality when he had The Apprentice, when he was telling people you're fired, and all of those Hollywood celebrities and all of those people and all the liberals, because you can't have a series for a decade on television without all the liberals on planet Earth loving it. And they knew his personality and they didn't mind. Then now they pretend and they say, well, democracy is at stake. No, sorry. You cheated at Bernie. And guess what? Your political viewpoints are not a metaphor for democracy or the republic or the Constitution. If anything, Democrats and liberals and many progressives want to do away with the Constitution. They want to literally do away with the Electoral College, literally pack the courts. They want to literally do all of these things because they're losing because they don't know how to communicate. Well, they can't communicate their value system because they don't really have one. They run on this kind of groupthink mentality where they pledge allegiance to intelligence communities, but not really to the Bill of Rights or to the flag or to the Republic they don't care about. They only care about government when it suits them. They only care about the Constitution when they think it suits them. But when it's the First or Second Amendment, nah. If it's the Electoral College, nah. If it's, the Supreme Court, we got to pack the court. Okay. And they cheated Bernie. I mean, the original sin really is cheating Bernie Sanders. And then blamed Russia. Nobody cares anymore. The outrage meter has been at 11 forever, and nobody cares anymore. Give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. The president is being impeached, and guess what? It actually helps President Trump. It actually helps President Trump. If you needed to galvanize the Republicans around Trump, congrats, Democrats, you've done that. You failed again, and you will lose again, and it'll be Clinton versus Trump again. You will lose again. Give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel. Subscribe to it. It is below in the pinned comment. Thank you.